So today's video is going to show you how to make a common pumpkin seed pattern. This is a pattern I've been working on for about 8 or 10 months. And again, I've been trying to paint more realistic, but also keep it kind of simple. And so this is the pattern I came up with. You can see it's kind of orange, reddish belly, and the bluish top half. And as far as the brown speckled pattern, I'm going to show you two different techniques today on how we're going to do that. So for starters now, I have a lure body here. This is an LC D20 lure body, and it dives to about 20 feet. And I already did the white base coat. So we're going to work our way from the belly up to the top of the bait. So the first color we're going to do on the belly is Comart paint. Hope I pronounced this correctly. Opaque Aurelian yellow. Again, the colors I'm using are pretty much just a guideline. You can use any colors you want, or something you can get close. You know, you can change the colors around to the variation of Pumpkinseed or sunfish in your region. But this is kind of what I came up with based on a reference photo I found online. So I'm going to take this off the stand here, and I'm going to start painting the belly up to about halfway up the body here. And let me turn some of my pressure down to about 15 psi or so. What I like about this paint, it starts out kind of yellow, but as you build up the color, it really darkens up nicely, as you can see. Okay, I'm going to heat set this, and then I'll probably do just another coat. You don't want to put too much paint on right off the bat. You'll see how this darkens up as I add another layer here. And I'll probably darken up more on the belly portion than I will down the sides. So I hope you can kind of see that in the camera, how it's starting to darken up compared to the edges here. Same paint color, just more paint being built up. Okay, so we're going to heat set that, and then we'll go on to the next. Okay, next thing we're going to do is darken up the belly now, just a little darker shade. I like to use Comart's Opaque Indian Red. I use this color a lot. It's maybe a good color to have in your collection. I use it for a number of patterns. Alright, so we're going to just add on a little bit of this Opaque Indian Red on the belly, just right down the middle here. There we go. Start to darken up that belly. And also what I like, so that it has a nice fade on the edges, instead of turning the bait and spraying right on it, just move the airbrush off to the side and let some of that overspray get on the edges of the bait. I'll show you what that does here. It's the nice graduation effect. Here's the yellow we had before and our Indian Red. Add just a little more of this Indian Red here on the throat here. Right down the middle. Nice. And we'll heat set that. Okay, now we're going to work on the top half of the body. Now normally when I'm spraying baits, I do use one of these helping hands holders. But right now, it's just a little easier to do it this way, but I do recommend those holders, and I get those at Menards, which is kind of like a Home Depot if you don't have any Menards in your area. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I have a little bit of a pearl white, or sometimes it's called iridescent white, on the top of the body. And actually I use a lot of pearls like this white pearl as a base coat, because when you use transparent paints, it really adds a little bit of sparkle and a nice effect to the bait. So, give some pearls a try. You may have to thin them out because if they're too thick, the pearly stuff that's in the paint may get stuck in your brush and clog it up. So you may have to thin them out quite a bit. All right, so a little bit of white, iridescent white, just along the body here. Really don't need much. All right, see, a little shiny pearl color. And I'll heat set that, and now we'll get. Okay, now we're going to work on the blue on the back, and I've tried many different blues before I found something I was happy with, and actually there's a couple of them that I like. This blue is by Dollar Rowney, and it's called Processed Cyan. It's more like it's very thin, almost like an ink, but you can shoot it through the airbrush, like it says right there. Or Golden Paints, Golden brand, has something called Fluorescent Blue, and it actually is a lot lighter than it is in the bottle there, so you just have to build the paint color up. But right now I'm gonna go with this Processed Cyan Blue. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do now, probably one of the more fun parts I like in this bait, is the brown pattern. What I did is I have a little ceramic dish I got from an art store here, and I got some, I went back with the Indian red, and I have an artist sponge. And if you've seen my crappie video, same technique, where we're just going to dab a little bit of, put a little paint on the sponge, like so. Dab off the excess. I'm going to start making the markings real lightly, don't push hard at all. You can do as many or as little as you want. Okay, here's a different technique for doing the Pumpkinseed brown pattern on the body. I found this on Tackle Underground on their forums, and that's a great, really great resource to use if you're into lure making. What I did is I got some craft paint. I'll tell you why I went with craft paint. This is what I got just from Michael's, and this color just happens to be Spanish slate, or Spanish tile, I'm sorry. But it's thick, and it needs to be thicker so it doesn't run when you get to when you apply it onto the bait. I got an ordinary comb, but with a pointy handle end, and this is why the paint has to be a little thick, but not too thick so it's raised off the body. But you put a little bit of paint on the tip of the comb, and just gently just kind of make some of your pattern markings. Okay. Maybe a dot here, and then the squiggly thing here. So again, this technique is a little more time consuming, but it actually has a great result, which I kind of like. Oh, that was a little thin, so that may run. See there on the top there? This white has to be kind of thick, so I need to find some thicker paint area. There we go. Just kind of draw this random pattern on the bait. There's no specific pattern you got to do. Whatever you want, really. This one up here looks a little messy, but again, nothing's perfect. And we'll do some more here. I think the paint is a little thin. Thinned it down too much. What I'm going to do, I'm going to keep going, and then I'll show you the result when I'm. Okay, so when I was demonstrating that on that bait, I think I thinned the paint out too much, so it was starting to run along the the scale detail on the body. So let me show you one that I've already done that's finished. And you can kind of see the pattern effect here I did with the comb. And then I came in later with some black, and I'll show you that on the other baits, but I just want to show you the lure pattern here. That's what you get from using the end of a comb. Kind of a nice effect. I like using the sponge because it goes a little faster. But we try out both and let's see what works for you. Alright, we're going to move on to the next step. The next step is going to be the gill markings. We have two different colors here. We have white and the black. So what I did is I made a stencil, just some plain stencil sheet here, and I cut out a gill pattern, or the gill marking pattern. This one's kind of a little bigger than I normally make, but you'll see why when we have to do the black. So I have some white paint, and let's place this right up against the bait, right about there. And there's the white. I'll heat set that, and then we'll go and do the other side. But I'm not going to bore you with painting the other side because you just saw what I did here. Okay, now we're going to do the black portion of the gill marking. Again, you see how the black allows some of the white to come through by not overlapping the entire white marking. And what I did is, here's the original stencil. I took some painter's tape and just masked off just a little bit of that marking. There you go. Now this is the tough part, and this is where I screw up actually quite a bit, is trying to get this lined up. Alright, so the base of this stencil should be right the base of the gill here, and it should allow some of the white to show through. So let me see if I can do this while recording. Alright, here we go. Make sure it's lined up as best I can. Oh, that actually worked out. So there you go. See, now you get a little bit of white, a little bit of black. We'll flip the bait around and repeat the process, hopefully without screwing this one up. It's hard sometimes to find the white marking. Alright. Yeah, it's offset a little bit, but you know what? I still like it. Alright, we're going to heat set that, and then there's one more thing we got to do. Okay, one last detail is we're going to blacken up the back a little bit. If you thin out your black paint so it's a little more transparent, it won't be just black. It may turn into a little darker blue. If you keep layering on the paints, it will look more black, but I like using the black to tie in all the colors here. So we'll just get black going here on the back. Just very lightly, don't overdo it. You can always add more black, but you can't take it off. And allow some of that overspray to get on the sides. And that should darken up that blue a little bit as well. See that? I'm going to add some around the eyes too. I like using the black around the eyes because when I put the eyeballs in, it kind of makes them pop a little bit. They don't get lost in the rest of the pattern. Okay, there we go. As far as painting is concerned, that is done. I'll go through the rest of the steps with you, putting the eyes on and the clear coat. Okay, well, we're pretty much done with the painting process, and now we're going to add the eyes. These are just pretty much your standard 3D eyes. And for this pattern, I'm going to use red. You can probably use yellow or maybe more of the silver colors. But I chose red. And this is really what makes the bait come to life, the eyes. Flip it over and add the next one. Press them on pretty good. There you go. There we go. Now we're going to clear coat, and this will be done. Okay, for the clear coat process, I just mix up 2 parts of this, this DevCon 2-ton epoxy, and I also have a different clear coat I use too. It's that Envirotex. I like that too. In fact, it's a little bit better because it's thinner. I can apply it easier to the bait, and I can get more baits done before it cures. I think with this DevCon I can get 2, maybe 3 baits done, 2 safely. I also added a little bit of glitter for added effect. This is what I got here, glitter, and I got it off of, I think it was Tackle Warehouse. So, but as you clear coat here, you're going to see how it really brings the bait to life here. The colors really start to pop, especially that blue with the fluorescent blue and the pearl underneath that. Some people have said they've had a problem with bubbles in the clear coat. Well, you get that from mixing, but if I just use long, even strokes, some of those bubbles will pop. Make sure you get the eyes real good so they don't come out. You probably see, maybe you can, the glitter I've got in there. I like using glitter because sometimes it kind of mimics the sun reflecting off the scales of the fish. Maybe not, but I don't think it would hurt. It was recommended to me by a friend of mine that does bass tournaments. He goes, "Hey, if it was me, I'd be putting glitter on all your baits." I said, sold. So, good lighting is important in your booth so you don't miss anything when you're painting, or especially clear coating, because I've had that where I thought I had everything and missed it, which is, really not a big deal because you can go in later. And actually, I've actually screwed up or missed a color, forgot, and after I've clear coated, and I've sprayed over the clear with that one color, and this clear coated over that. Can't tell the difference. So because you're clear coated doesn't mean it's ruined if you missed a color. You put all that time and effort into it, try to salvage it first. So, alright, I think we just got about every bit of the bait. See how rich that blue comes in? I love it. In the belly, there's that Indian red and graduates into that other yellow. So there you have it. So thank you, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you already subscribed and you're back again, I appreciate your support. And hopefully in a month or so I'll be making another one.